Hey everyone, Jason Verdelli with Phase 2 Solutions, where digital media meets real business objectives. Welcome to our Experts on Issues segment. And today I'm very excited. We have a very special guest, Ryan Coleman with Xeron Software and iFormBuilder.com. We're going to learn a little bit about mobile data collection and how that is really changing the way that businesses work, that businesses do business, how they're not just collecting data, but how they're actually transforming their business. And Ryan's going to talk to us today a little bit about that. So without further ado, Ryan, welcome to Experts on Issues, and tell us a little bit about yourself, iFormBuilder, how you got to where you are, and we'll start it off there.
Yeah, great. So thanks for the invite here, Jay. So iFormBuilder, we really position ourselves as a mobile workflow platform. And, everybody has a mobile device. Everybody has an iPad, an iPhone, an Android device, whatever it might be. And we have some very humble beginnings in terms of before everybody had a smartphone, we were bouncing from consulting engagement to consulting engagement, building data collection applications for teams to go out and collect data. As soon as, it was great, life was good. However, as soon as Apple announced that there was this thing called the App Store, we kind of consolidated all of our expertise and said, well, let's really productize mobile data collection. And over the years, we've evolved into really transforming how experts collect data as well as field teams collect data. And the big thing is once you collect the data, now it's a matter of asking the question, well, now what? And a big part of our business now is really transforming how field teams work, and everything from different types of integrations to where they need to access data to what they're able to do once they collect the data. With iFormBuilder, though, we are really focused on enterprise field teams. And when I say enterprise field teams, they're everything from the engineers that are out in the field to the international development groups that are working in the middle of the Congo. They have some very unique processes that they really need to work around, or their work environment is not fully connected or whatever it might be. So what iFormBuilder really does is we focus on advanced form building, ultra disconnected environments, as well as the most secure platform for the enterprise field teams, basically.
Right. So,
but I guess that's it. iFormBuilder in a nutshell, we basically mobilize teams to collect really awesome data, and as a part of that, it's transforming how their operations work.
Interesting. And you said about field teams, Ryan. What kind of companies, and I have an idea of sort of the kind of companies you work with. Can you give us a couple examples of some of the companies that you've worked with or type of companies?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I know it's such a cliche or business cliche in terms of focusing on the enterprise, but it's really groups that have multiple projects, multiple teams that are out in the field. So when I say field teams, I go back to engineers, the guys that are holding clipboards and filling out all their information on paper and then bringing that back into the office. People that are working in utilities, people that are working on, I'm looking out the window right now and there's actually a guy holding a survey stick and they're looking through the viewfinder. We also have groups that are doing interviews that are out in the, on the streets. So street teams that are doing different types of surveys. Groups that are, the marketing companies that are basically sitting at trade shows and basically trying to collect data without the internet connection and, lead capture forms. That's a very, low value data collection, but it's also something that people struggle with because they normally either drop the business card into the fishbowl, or they're, having a clipboard that people are filling in. Well, then somebody actually needs to translate all that information into a database or put it into Excel or put it in their CRM. And with iFormBuilder, basically you build your form, you assign it out to your user, the user logs in on their mobile device, and then their forms or data that you've assigned to them is actually coming down to the device, which means they don't need an internet connection to start collecting that data. So in terms of my core customers, it's we work with large, the second largest company that stocks airplane food. So they basically jump onto an airplane, they take inventory of what does the plane need, what food and beverage do they need? Does it need ice? Do the pilots need meals delivered to them? They restock the plane and then they jump off. We do a lot of asset management or inspection work. So think of going out to the cell phone tower and making sure that it's built to spec. There's no internet connection out there, or it's spotty at best. People still want to be able to collect the information that they need to. They need to take pictures, mark up those pictures. A lot of really neat things are happening on that.
That's interesting. And Ryan, when it comes to integration, so going and collecting the data, like you said, is one thing, but integrating that data into other systems, maybe whether they're CRM systems or whatever it is that the companies are using. How have you seen companies sort of transform their business by collecting that data now without having to have an internet connection, unlike many other form softwares? How is the integration part actually transform business?
Sure. So those on my team hear me bark about this all the time, and I actually adopted it off of the education space, but it's called SAMR. And SAMR is substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. So I might go off on a tangent here, Jay. Let me go, though. So basically, most groups that come to us, they're coming with a paper form, a PDF, or something that they want to basically translate into the software. They think that I can collect the data, I'm good to go. Now, there's so many things that you can do on your mobile device that you can't do on paper. So, of course, step one, let's substitute your fields or whatever data you need to collect from your piece of paper, put it into the iForm Builder platform. That's a very low value proposition. It's a straight substitution. So now how do we augment that? Can we standardize your data selection? Can we have drop-down lists? Can we have auto-populated fields where I scan a barcode or I enter in a unique ID, and then everything gets to be auto-populated directly on the device, even without an internet connection? Do I take a picture? When was the last time you took a picture with a piece of paper, Jay? And then you can also sit there and start marking up that actual picture, so you can annotate on top of it. Another classic example, in terms of that actual augmenting the way that the paper form works. What if I need to do a house inspection? But I need to take a house inspection. I'm going to walk in, but I need to take multiple photographs, or I need to walk in and inspect multiple rooms. So we have a feature called subforms that basically allows people to collect related tables or one-to-many relationships. So you have a parent form, but then rather than leafing through and having multiple inspection forms for each room, this is all going to be knitted together and nested together. So that's your substitution, your augmentation. Now, as I move up the value chain, again, that's going to add some value. It might save time. It might save data entry. But where the real, the real ROI to a lot of our teams are, well, once I collect the data, now what can happen? And this is where we're going to modify and redefine the workflow. And when I say redefine, we have a whole set of APIs. We have the ability for you to pretty much integrate iForm Builder data or external data with iForm Builder in a bidirectional format. And some of the neat use cases there are, we have groups that are, as soon as a record gets submitted, it's immediately pushed into their backend system. A set of processes run, and if a certain condition is met, they're going to, push that record back out to the field. They might have different types of scorecards, or I just talked to a company this morning. We worked with them a few months ago, and basically they had an inspection process that they would go out and they would spend 8 hours in the field performing the inspection, and then the rest of the week basically assembling the report. Well, now their groups are going out there, they enter in all the information onto iForm Builder, they take their pictures, and then as soon as they click done, the report is generated. So it is immediately publishing their deliverable to their customer in a very clean, branded format, whatever it might be. The neat thing about them is then that they also have that data not only produced in the PDF for them to deliver to their customer, but it's also updating the dashboard on different types of dashboards that they're now able to see what all of their crews are doing, and how they're in tower erection. So basically, they put up the cell towers, and next they're able to see, well, this crew is 60% done with this project, and it's all real-time data. And that real-time data has such an amazing value to a lot of organizations. We talk with groups all the time. They send their teams out into the field. They got to wait 6 weeks for them to get that information back. And then once it gets back into the office, they actually have to pay people to, key in the data that's going into the into the database or into their backend systems, whatever it might be. And what we're really doing is transforming that, and now users are able to see in real time a record gets collected, it gets submitted to the server, and it really runs the gamut. One other quick thing, and I think it's pretty amazing. So every record that's captured in our software allows you to capture the time and date stamp, latitude, longitude, altitude, speed, compass direction, the user information, and all of this metadata. And metadata is data about data. So now this original layer of data was for data integrity purposes. You can say at this time, at this location, this record was collected. Now, what we've done is actually now opened up the entire floodgates for groups to now add a geospatial layer to their data. They're now able to see on a map where their field crews have collected records. They're able to see, have the different records turn, separate colors or whatever it might be based on is it complete? Is it in progress? Has it not even been touched yet? And now that's really transforming how their field teams are actually working. That example that I shared with you earlier of the inspection company that was basically eliminating a week's worth of work. In the past 6 months, they're saying that they've saved about $225,000 worth of labor hours simply because they don't have to.
Looks like me. Ryan, are you still there? Looks like we might have lost you here. Let's see if I can get you back online. Let's see if we can get you here. Ryan? Yep. It looks like we lost you there a little bit. That's okay.
I talk to myself all the time. It's okay. So I don't know where I cut off there.
I think you were cutting off there where you were talking a little bit about the being able to see where teams kind of having like color codes, being able to see where teams are at when they're collecting the data and all that.
Yeah, so that geospatial layer, engineering firms use it, cities use it, fire departments are using it, police departments are using it. Marketing teams are now able to see where they're able to get the different types of penetration into different markets. We have, everything you can imagine under the sun. I mean, the forest services are using iForm Builder. We have a state agency that's actually tracking the gypsy moth as it crosses the state in terms of invasive species. And all of this is happening on their devices, and then it's immediately going into a map or into their GIS or Esri backend system, transforming truly the way that their field teams work. So now we're going well beyond just collecting the data on the device. It's now how does your company interact with the data, and then ultimately data is the lowest level in this continuum. Now, how do we take data and turn it into information? How do we combine information to create knowledge? And then how do we create knowledge to ultimately produce some type of wisdom for your company? Our tagline here, Jay, is we believe that knowledge is gathered and good data can change your world. So few companies really value what good data means in their business. And good, clean data that's collected, boots on the ground, and then having that process to filter it up and be able to automate how their users are interacting with the work that they're doing. The other great part about this is you have engineers that are spending their life's work filling in forms and filling in paper. How do we automate that so that they're actually able to spend the time that they should be spending on actually doing meaningful work that is producing value for their customers and producing value for their company? If we can eliminate 8 hours a week of data entry or of by automating these workflows, that frees up a ton of time, a ton of value for the company as well.
Well, what's interesting, I gathered there, right, from what you mentioned is not just efficiency and almost like the last thing you're worried about, not necessarily worried about, but is just collecting the data, right? There's a lot of software programs out there that just focus in on just collecting the data. your online forms, and they're not even really that sophisticated. It's just the online form, you paste it into the website or whatever else. This is, much more sophisticated as far as getting in front of teams. But more importantly, what I've gathered so far is that it's not, when you collect the data, basically what can that data do? How can that integrate with the other systems that you have within your organization that are driving it, that are, reporting back to executive management, that are starting to create that marketing automation. Now with that question, with that, Ryan, as far as the integration, some form softwares, they focus in on, hey, we integrate with MailChimp and some of your basic, what you would expect to kind of integrate with. It seems like the iForm Builder, a platform and the service that goes along with it, it seems to integrate with, you guys can really work with the organization, integrate within their existing systems. How far do you go with that in terms of integration?
Yeah, so I mean, like I mentioned, we do have an API. The neat thing is once you collect your data, it's going to be made available as a list view, a map view, a graph view, an HTML view, an Excel spreadsheet, an XML feed, a JSON feed, an RSS feed. I'm going to provide you your data in as many consumable formats as possible. Now, when you say how far do we go, mind you, I do focus on large team deployments. Currently our largest deployment right now in terms of just scale is across 133 countries, and that's about 5,000 active users collecting data on the device. They're also submitting about 1 million transactions a month, or records a month, and about 13 million API transactions. So we're talking like these massive scale in terms of large enterprises that need the infrastructure to actually be able to to grow as their teams grow. Now, the neat thing is when you start saying about integration, back-end systems, everything from having your data go into SAP, go into Oracle, go into PeopleSoft, go into your financial management back-end, or going into those reporting engines, Crystal Reports, or different types of BI tools and dashboards. The business intelligence piece is how it's great if you can visualize the data, but how do you get the data formatted so that it can actually go in? So then where my team comes into play is you can buy the software. The intention is for it to be do it yourself, but you don't have to. So I have implementation and solutions teams that are able to sit there, understand more about your business, and then we actually will be able to work with you to build the forms, but then also to perform the integration or create unique workflows. I also have a whole professional services team in place that developers are able to create web services to interact with your back-end systems. Or it's fun. We're working with a group right now that they're a team of livestock vets, and they basically go out and they're veterinarians for livestock on these massive ranches. And one of the big things that they're able to do is basically they need to be able to integrate their mobile device with the wand that basically will read the RFID tag in their ear of each of the cattle. So they wand the cow. All the known information about that cow will be auto-populated in their device, and then they go and actually do it's not an inspection, but the evaluation of the cattle and the udders and everything else under the sun. It's pretty amazing to see how these field teams are able to transform the way that they used to do business. The other big thing is those in that use case there with the hardware, some of these proprietary hardware systems, they're charging $6,000, $10,000, $12,000 per unit. Now you get a mobile device or an iPad for $350 plus the wand, and they're actually able to now go out and save tremendous amounts of money and get so much more flexibility because they get to design how their data will be formatted and also what data they're going to collect. So all around, I mean, I love working with teams that get it. And those are the ones that don't need their data to go in an Excel spreadsheet. That's the easy part. It's those that say, well, now what? And how do we take those teams to that next level?
Yeah, and I gather it's almost like re-architecting the way, not only collecting data to save money and be efficient and everything, but like you said, re-architecting the way you look at your data, how you interact with your data, and ultimately, that's it provides, like you said, wisdom back to the organization. Puts it back into that dashboard. We talk about integration, bringing that back into a dashboard. Maybe it's a Clipfolio dashboard. We just had Dave Levinsky on about a few months ago. We talked a little bit about that. So, something like iForm Builder integrating with that would be a perfect solution for an organization that wants to have some visibility there. And, so I see it really right. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I really see it as, if you're, organizations that are collecting data really need to talk to you about even talking to your professional services team to get an idea, to get an assessment, to see where they're at. Is that something you would recommend, most companies doing?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Nothing happens without a conversation, right? So my big thing is, where do you have your aha moment? And I'm in the business of promoting champions. There's that one guy or that team of people that are sitting there saying, there has to be a better way. And then we work with them to really transform what they're able to do within their workflow. So, Jay, I don't know if you've ever worked in a manufacturing place where you I don't know, everything from making boxes to packaging stuff to dumping different types of things. There's so many places that paper is still part of that workflow. And, we can come in, and I do this program called A Day in the Life, where one of my solutions engineers and myself will actually go out onto your site, and we'll sit there and we'll just observe how your processes go or what your people are doing. And it's amazing, within a half hour or an hour and a half of just being around different types of workflow, there's so many new opportunities in terms of, well, have you considered this? Where is this data already coming from? Where does it already exist that we can now start integrating with? And in manufacturing, it's amazing. Everything from inventory coming into the place to being able to make sure that the lines are operating appropriately to making sure that there's barcodes on certain things. So you scan the barcode, everything gets auto-populated about that line. We work with a large company, very large company, publicly traded. They do basically the paint for all these different types of car manufacturers. And they're able to start at the plant level. They then go to the department level. They then drill down into the line level, all the way down to the very, very root of where their engineers are actually performing work. And now all of that will trickle up. So it's all quality assurance and their proficiencies and efficiencies that they're building into it. And we're able to just jump in. And the big thing that I want to get through here, Jay, is a lot of times people look at it as, oh, you're an app builder. No, well, if you want to build one form and go have 20,000 records collected on it, go have an app built. However, where iForm Builder is going to come in is that large organization, there's going to be there's the group that's either, they sit between the business user and they sit between IT, and they have a little bit of technical ability, but they can build their own workflows into the platform. So it's like 1,000 different apps in one, and now they're able to roll it out. And all the user needs is the ability to enter in some, their username and password, and only the information that's assigned to them will come down to that device. So now we're actually flipping the whole organization upside down. And now the business user that's in the field has their aha moment, or they realize where they can streamline their workflow. And now we're enabling them with these tools to basically become citizen developers.
And that's really great. I think that's, the fact that you're paying attention to the process, that you have the professional services team. It's not just about the app, just not just about the technology. You're looking at what I call, you're really looking at the process aspect of it. I always mention, to grow a business, you have to have the right purpose, the right people, the right platforms, and the right processes. Having the platform is great. iForm Builder has a lot of great tools. It's very flexible, has the API like you mentioned. But the fact that you guys are helping out with the process and really helping companies work through that to make sure they're getting the cost savings, to make sure they're able to, which again, of course, is opening up time and opportunity and growing their business. I mean, that's absolutely tremendous. So I think you guys have really hammered in on that.
Yeah, it's amazing, Jay. We have customers that have been using us for a few years, even past 3 years, and they've used us for one or two specific processes, and then we revisit. Well, have you considered doing this? Have you considered doing that? Have you, did you know that the platform couldn't do this? And then from there, it's now a matter of it, really starting to take form. On my sales calls, I like to refer to iForm Builder as the gateway drug of choice. You start with that one process or that one project, and then once it gets in the hands of the right people, they all say, well, can it do this? Can we do it for safety inspections? Can we do it for environmental health and and safety? Can we, do whatever it might be? And it's really amazing to see where organizations go. And I mean, some of our largest organizations, they're saving hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars a year simply by leveraging our software, and they truly are treating it as mission critical. It's really neat to see.
Great, Rod. Just to finish up, what for organizations or people within a company right now that are looking at this and saying, what, we need to get an assessment of how we're collecting data, what we're doing with the data, just really getting a good consultation, or looking for that good consultation. What's the next step for somebody that's sitting in in those shoes?
Yeah, so a couple things. We need to talk. No, so I have on my website, iformbuilder.com, we actually created a free account. The free account, it allows groups to be dangerous. You get full access to the platform. You get to collect or create up to 10 forms. You get to create up to 100 or collect up to 100 records. But you can actually jump in and become dangerous. Now, as a part of that, I also want to extend my contact information. And Jay, you'll be the best to tell how to get in contact with me. And basically, it's then a matter of let's talk through it. Tell me a day in the life of how your field teams are collecting data or what you're trying to accomplish. And then we can show examples. We can actually build out a few few portions of your workflow. And there again, no matter what it is, there's nothing within the data collection realm that we haven't seen. We're working, like I said, in over 135 countries right now, users in multiple languages, in multiple groups, in every industry under the sun. It really, you also get to have full access to all of our experience in all the different types of groups that we've been able to leverage. But yeah, best thing is start a free account and let's have a conversation. It's really great to work with you and really see where things can go.
That's great, Ryan. And just to finish up on from our perspective, from the Phase 2 perspective, is if we're looking at building this into a digital business development plan, really what I call a digital business growth plan. Looking at the way you're collecting data, what you're doing to disseminate the data is absolutely critical. So this is something that, of course, you can go to our website, phase2solutions.net, set up a free consultation with us. We can work with you to help you build a plan, but also to help you work with, Ryan at iFormBuilder to help you walk through seeing how mobile data collection can change the way you're doing business, to help save money, to open up opportunity to help you grow your business. And I think it kind of starts. It really starts with that. Starts with having a good plan in place. So, any last words, Ryan, before we jump off?
No, Jay, this was great. I really appreciate the invite, and as always, looking forward to working with you for the next 10 years.
Sounds good. Well, hey, with that said, again, Ryan, thanks for coming on. Be sure to check out our events. You can go under resources on our website and click on events. You can check out some of the upcoming interviews and some of the other upcoming workshops and events that we have planned. So again, thank you for stopping by today. And Ryan, thank you again. And we will take it from there.